My name's Gervaise. I live in the southwest of England in a little village near Exeter. Actually, I knew Ruben through buying a property through Connell's in Exeter, where he worked at the time. So in his previous life before CityRise, because I'd met Ruben previously, I'd kind of kept in touch, had conversations about my investments down in the southwest. And then, of course, when they set up CityRise, I just followed the website and carried on kind of researching what they were up to because I'd been impressed by him. I was already a property investor. I started investing in property in 2009. And so I started buying existing buildings, adding value to them by doing like extensions and loft conversions. But most of them were like Victorian buildings, or none of them were new build. But yeah, so I gathered a portfolio down in the southwest, primarily the southwest at that time. When I first spoke to CityRise, I was very much, my goal was to be financially free and geographically free, which at the time I absolutely wasn't, because I was managing that portfolio down in Devon myself. So that was my goal at that time. Of course, when first investing, yes, it is a fearful process. It would be a lie to say that it's not, because investing it's a big deal. It's quite a big venture, and it has to be done well, because of course it can go massively well or it can go extremely badly. As I hadn't invested off plan before, then of course I was nervous, like, well, actually, does the building get built? How can you ensure that? How can you know what's happening? Because of course I was used to being very much hands-on, not actually building, but at least turning up on site and seeing the progress of a build. Of course, through this experience with CityRise, I'm trusting in the experts up here in Leeds, but I was always reassured by all of the conversations I had with the team here. I think I overcame that fear of investing off plan primarily through being shown lots of spreadsheets, being shown all the numbers, being shown the specific return on investment that you get, because the figures are very, very different to the figures on my spreadsheets that I created in my early investing years. And also because I knew and trusted that CityRise had very good relationships with the developers. That gave me trust that, something was going to come to fruition from start to finish. My favourite thing through my investment journey with CityRise has been that kind of sense of something really unfolding. So that very exciting, that's something happening from absolute ground zero to, wow, a whole building and lots of apartments and such nice quality apartments as well. So just seeing that come into being was really exciting. That's before getting a reward on the investment. The time it took to get a return on that investment was roughly, I guess, about 18 months for my first one. And of course, gaining another profitable asset, a very different kind of asset, was very exciting, and experiencing it as proper passive income, which I hadn't really experienced before. So yeah, very exciting, very comforting. And what I've really noticed, the difference between investing with CityRise, investing in off-plan, and my existing strategy of buying existing buildings and renting those out, has been the ease of that transition. Having a great management team that find the tenants, manage the tenants, and I know the logistics that are involved in all of that work. So, hats off to the team that do a splendid job. So of course, having been involved with CityRise for some years now, I think it's 3 years-ish, that journey and reinvesting in property has been quite an easy journey. So I made the decision to sell some of my existing portfolio so that I could release funds to obviously put down as deposits for properties through CityRise. And it's just been so exciting, really, being able to have a sort of pick and mix of different properties in different cities and looking at the various returns, having chats with people here, which is always a pleasure. Yeah, it's been a really very flowing experience, I would say. So the yields that I've got on my current portfolio with CityRise ranges between 5.5 to, I think one of them sits just below 7. But it was quite a thing to choose which cities, because I guess every city has its merits, doesn't it? So I chose primarily Leeds, I think probably for no better reason than that CityRise is based in Leeds, and it just seemed like, well, it's going to be so near to where they're working. That kind of seemed comforting to me. And then one in Liverpool. So I've got, of course, many colleagues and friends who are also property investors, and of course I've been talking to them about CityRise and buying off plan. And something that I'm often saying to people is, if you want a really hands-off experience where you get proper passive income and very little concern, actually no concern once you've made that initial kind of, got yourself over the threshold, then it's just a brilliant way of investing. You're buying into buildings that are future-proofed, buildings that are going to gain asset value, buildings that have instant revenue once they're let out. And of course, a very strong part of my desire for investing with CityRise has been the fact that after completion of the building, after finding the tenants, or in fact CityRise have found the tenants for me, they then manage that tenancy for me for the duration ever since the build has completed. So that has been a proper hands-off experience for me. And I've actually already recommended CityRise to a friend who has bought a property. He bought a property in somewhere near Hull, I think it was, and he is delighted. Like he pulled out money from a garage in Bath. I think it was, I don't know how much he sold it for, but of course he was letting it out for, I don't know, whatever garage is let out for, £100 a month or something. Instead, he sold that garage, invested in a CityRise property, and now he's like, wow, now I get 550, 600 a month. What a difference. He's absolutely delighted and has already said he's saving up money to invest again in CityRise. Going forwards, I've obviously still got my portfolio down in the southwest, but I'm looking to slowly release, sell off some of those so that I can release some capital, and then I will most certainly be looking to invest in some more CityRise properties. My ultimate goal, of course, as a property investor, and now that I guess you could say my latter years as an investor, and one of my goals had always been to be financially free. And I guess what that means for me is I'm geographically free so that I can travel anywhere in the world, potentially even move abroad at some point. That's kind of a little bit on my horizon. And also ultimately to be mortgage free. My profession before I started property investment and then also investing with CityRise, rather randomly, I was a psychotherapist. It was a great job, but it was most definitely, I had to put that time in exchange for the money.